If you're someone who is wanting to eat healthier and you constantly feel like it's going to cost over your budget, or maybe you are even eating healthier now and you're finding yourself spending a little bit more than you would like, in today's video we're going to go over tips of how to eat healthier without overspending. The first tip is to know when to buy fresh and when to buy frozen. I remember when I was first eating more of a predominantly plant-based lifestyle that I was literally buying everything fresh, and what I started to realize was when I would pick up like 4 or 5 fruits, I wouldn't have enough time to eat all of it before it ended up going bad. So it ended up costing me more money because then I would either have to replace it with a new item or throw it away and never eat it, and it just was a waste of money. So what I started doing was I started paying attention to the fruits I was buying and when I tended to use them. So one thing to do is pay attention to the types of fruits that you're getting, or even types of vegetables, because you can also get frozen bags of vegetables, and pay attention to how often you use it. If you tend to use it here and there but not really use it that often, maybe see if there is a frozen version that you could buy of that item, or if it's an item that you tend to eat often, those you get more as a fresh item. The next one is to avoid buying everything organic. So I feel like we're in this space where it's just like we want everything organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, all this jazz. Granted, if your body needs it, then do what you gotta do. But when it comes to buying organic, I feel like that is something to pay attention to, because it will really cost you some money and it will really run up your bill if you decide to get everything organic. So one key thing to do to significantly lower down your grocery bill is to not buy everything organic. One method I like to do is a look at the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. So anything that's on the Dirty Dozen list has a high amount of pesticides in it, and anything on the Clean 15 has a relatively safe or low amount of pesticides. One mistake that I did in the beginning of switching to a predominantly plant-based is I ended up buying like everything organic, and my bill, say it was like average like $80, it ended up going up to $120 plus, because I was buying every single thing organic. Even the processed foods I was getting organic, and honestly I do still get my processed foods organic. When it comes to whole foods, really decide which items you want to get organic and which ones you're okay with just getting regular. So one method that you could do is look at the list of the Dirty Dozen and see which ones you tend to buy often, and then also look at the Clean 15 list and then also see which ones you tend to buy often. Anything on the Clean 15 that you tend to buy often, decide if you want to probably get that organic. But if it's on the Clean 15 and you get it often, you know that that's not an item that you necessarily need to get as organic. But if there's something on the Dirty Dozen list that you tend to eat often, those are the items to think about to get as organic as opposed to getting the non-organic version. Tip number 3 is to limit the amount of processed foods you are getting. When it comes to processed healthy foods, they are pricier, and it's like I started to put it in my head to where it's like maybe it's not necessarily pricier. Some of them are, but it's just that they have actual ingredients in them that substitute for the price. If you're paying like $2 and change for some crackers and you're used to paying $2 and change, when we see another cracker that's like $5, we're like, this is expensive, and not realizing that that $2 box of crackers that we're getting offer us no nutritional value, as opposed to the $5.99, which has like whole nutrients in it, and even though it's processed, it's actually ingredients that you recognize. So that was a mindset shift I had to take. Another thing was realizing if I can make it myself. When it comes to reducing the amount of processed foods, really pay attention to the types of processed foods that you're getting and see if you could just make it at home yourself. One thing that I used to do was get granola bites, and I think it was like Made Good, I think it's Made Good, and their brand is really good. But the thing that I would get annoyed with is if I didn't have my CVS coupon, I was paying full price for those boxes, and those boxes could go anywhere from high $3 and change all the way up to $6, and that was not something I wanted to pay often. So one thing that I started to do was really see about like the breakfast bars that I was getting and see if there was a way for me to just make it at home. So now if I ever end up craving like having like a breakfast bowl, I know all I have to do is go in my cabinet, get some oats, get some peanut butter, get some chocolate chunks and mix it all together and have the same thing as I was to get if I had bought the box version, and honestly a little healthier because I know what ingredients I'm putting in there and making it fresh. So another alternative is to just reduce the amount of processed items that you're getting and make more of the foods at home. Number 4 is to know what meals you are making in advance. This is very important when it comes to switching to a predominantly plant-based, because it's not like you have like meat and shrimp. For the most part, you're having more whole foods that have an expiration date, and the expiration date is it going bad. One mistake I made a lot in the beginning of my plant-based journey was I was buying every single thing that looked appealing to me in the store, and then when I went home I would be like, okay, like what can I make with this and this, and then realize that I needed another ingredient, so then I had to go back to the store, pick up another ingredient, and then the next recipe I was making, I was either missing something, or so I had to go back to the store, and then by the time I was ready to use another item, then that item has now expired and I have to get another one, and it became a very annoying and draining process, especially because I was spending more money than I wanted because I wasn't prepping out what I was eating beforehand, and then had all this food at my disposal, not knowing how to bring them all together in a timely manner. So one thing that I started doing was prepping my meals in advance. This could go in a couple of ways of having like 2 to 3 go-to meals that you know you can make at any time. So if you know you're gonna want to eat pasta, or you know you're gonna want to eat rice, what kind of ingredients are you planning on adding to that dish? And this is a great way of really paying attention to when you're going grocery shopping, of whether it's something you could buy, you want to buy now or need now, or something that you know you may not use this week and that you could save for your next grocery shopping. So what kind of meals are you planning on making often for breakfast? What kind of meals are you planning on making for dinner? Stick to buying those ingredients first, and then decide if you want to buy any extra ingredients based off of what you think that you will be eating for the week. And the last one is check for better prices at other stores. When I was back in New York in the Bronx, the only main store that we had around us was Stop and Shop. I really wasn't trying to do long commutes. Unless I really wanted a specialty item, then I would go to another store. But for the most part, my shopping location was Stop and Shop. However, when I ended up moving to Florida, it became much better of me choosing what stores to go to for specific items. If you're someone who may be able to drive to multiple stores, really look at all of the different types of prices at all the stores, because you may end up getting a better deal at one store than another, and also quality may be better at one store than another. So those are my 5 tips on how to eat healthier without overspending. I do know at times it can be more pricier, and especially with the whole way like food prices are now, and honestly didn't hit me until recently. You know, like we still want to be healthy without feeling like we need to break our wallets to do so. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. Definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I will see you in the next video.